Sylvia, a 32-year-old creative designer at a thriving gaming studio in Seattle, had always dreamed of a life filled with freedom and ambition. Her days were spent crafting immersive worlds for video games. A career that sparkled with promise on the surface. But beneath the glossy exterior of her professional success lay a tangled web of family obligations that weighed heavily on her heart. 2 years ago, when her father's tech startup crumbled in a sudden economic downturn, Sylvia's life took a sharp turn. She left behind her chic downtown apartment and returned to her childhood home in Tacoma, Washington, to support her struggling family. Now, at the age of 32, Sylvia found herself as the primary breadwinner for a household that included her parents, David and Margaret, and her 29-year-old younger sister, Lily. The Tacoma house, a modest 2-story relic of her childhood, was now a battleground of unspoken tensions. Sylvia poured $4 a month into the family's expenses, a sum that covered everything from groceries to utility bills. Yet, despite her sacrifices, the air in the house crackled with resentment. Lily, charming and effortlessly charismatic, had always been the golden child in their parents' eyes. With her sharp wit and striking looks, she'd been coddled since they were kids, leaving Sylvia to shoulder the family's burdens. While Sylvia woke at dawn to prepare breakfast, pack her father's lunch, and manage the household's finances, Lily spent her days lounging, claiming she was job hunting, but producing little evidence of effort. To Sylvia, it felt like her sister was coasting through life, squandering time while their parents turned a blind eye. The tension came to a head one chilly autumn evening over dinner. Margaret, her mother, sighed dramatically as she stirred a pot of soup. Sylvia, Lily mentioned she'd love some ribeye steaks for dinner tomorrow. But we're running low on grocery money again. Can you pitch in a bit more? Sylvia's stomach twisted. She was already stretched thin, her savings dwindling to keep the family afloat. More? She replied, her voice tight. I'm already giving $4 a month. We're not even halfway through October, and it's gone? Lily, sprawled on the couch scrolling her phone, piped up with a smirk. Big sis, prices are crazy these days. $4 doesn't cut it for a family of 4 anymore. Sylvia's patience snapped. If you think it's not enough, why don't you get a job and contribute? She shot back, her voice trembling with frustration. Margaret quickly jumped to Lily's defense. Oh, Sylvia, don't be so hard on her. Lily's helping around the house, and job hunting is tough. Sylvia bit back a bitter laugh. Helping? She'd never seen Lily do more than toss her dishes in the sink or occasionally fold her own laundry, tasks so trivial they barely qualified as chores. Meanwhile, Sylvia juggled her demanding job, household duties, and the constant pressure of being the family's financial lifeline. David, her father, chimed in, his tone gentle but maddeningly dismissive. Lily's doing her part. Sylvia, she even organizes the pantry sometimes. Sylvia's hands clenched under the table. The unfairness of it all burned inside her, a smoldering resentment that had been building for years. Days later, the situation exploded in a way Sylvia never saw coming. She was at her desk, sketching concept art for a new game, when her phone buzzed with an unfamiliar number. It was a representative from a credit card company she rarely used. Ms. Sylvia, we've noticed unusual activity on your account. Over $12 has been charged in the last 4 days. Sylvia's heart stopped. That's impossible, she stammered, her mind racing. Can you tell me where the charges were made? The representative listed transactions from high-end boutiques, luxury restaurants, and tourist attractions, all in Maui, Hawaii. Sylvia's blood ran cold. She knew exactly who was responsible. Lily had been gone for days, claiming she was visiting a friend. But Sylvia's parents had let slip the truth during a casual conversation in the living room. Lily's so lucky, Margaret had gushed. She won a sweepstakes for a trip to Hawaii. Can you imagine, relaxing on those beaches, dining at the best spots? Sylvia had confronted them, stunned. Hawaii? She's in Hawaii? How is she paying for anything? She doesn't have a dime. David shrugged. She said the trip was free, flights and hotel covered. But the credit card charges told a different story. Sylvia called Lily immediately, her voice shaking with fury. What are you doing using my credit card? You spent $12. Lily's response was infuriatingly nonchalant. Oh, sis. You noticed? I thought it was fine since it's family. The trip was free, but I needed money for shopping, dining, and some tours. It added up. Sylvia's vision blurred with anger. You think it's okay to spend my money without asking? That's theft. Lily laughed lightly, as if it were a minor oversight. Come on, it's not a big deal. The card was just sitting there, and I figured you'd want me to have fun. Sylvia hung up, her hands trembling. She immediately contacted the credit card company and froze the account, leaving Lily stranded in Hawaii without access to funds. When she returned home that evening, her parents greeted her with anxious faces. Sylvia, why did you cut off Lily's card? Margaret demanded. She's stuck in Hawaii, unable to pay for anything. Sylvia's jaw dropped. My card was misused. She spent $12 without permission. And you're worried about her? David tried to mediate. She was going to buy us souvenirs. It's not like she meant any harm. Sylvia's patience shattered. She pulled out her phone and played a voicemail Lily had left. Her voice dripping with entitlement. Sylvia. You miser. Turn the card back on. Mom and Dad's cards are maxed out. And I need money to enjoy this trip. Don't be so selfish. The room fell silent as David and Margaret's faces paled. They rushed to check their own accounts, only to discover Lily had been using their cards too, draining what little savings they had. How could she do this to us? Margaret whispered, her voice breaking. Sylvia's voice was cold. You called me selfish for stopping her. But now you see who she really is. You've enabled her for years. And this is the result. That night, as Sylvia lay awake, a plan began to form, a way to break free from the suffocating weight of her family's dependence. She remembered a crucial detail. The house they lived in was registered in her name. Years ago, when David struggled with property taxes, Sylvia had agreed to cover them on the condition that the deed be transferred to her. It was a safeguard she'd nearly forgotten. But now it was her ticket to freedom. A college friend, now a real estate agent in Tacoma, had been eyeing the property for months, offering to buy it for a development project. Sylvia had always refused, believing it was more cost-effective to maintain the family home. But now, everything had changed. She contacted her friend and set the wheels in motion to sell the house. To ensure her plan went smoothly, Sylvia devised a way to get her family out of the way. She found an unused credit card in Lily's room, one Lily had gotten during a brief stint at a retail job before quitting, and handed it to her parents. Why don't you join Lily in Hawaii? She suggested, her voice deceptively sweet. Take a family trip. I'll book the flights. David and Margaret, still reeling from Lily's betrayal but eager for a getaway, agreed without hesitation. Sylvia smiled as she reserved their tickets, knowing this would give her the window she needed to finalize the sale. While her family was in Hawaii, Sylvia worked swiftly. She signed the papers with the real estate agent, packed up the family's belongings, and arranged for them to be shipped to her grandmother Eleanor's home in Portland, Oregon. Eleanor ran a renowned Italian bistro, known for its mouth-watering pizzas and pastas, but also for her iron-fisted management style. Sylvia knew that under Eleanor's strict supervision, her family would have to confront their irresponsibility. David, Margaret, and Lily would have no choice but to work at the bistro, learning the value of hard work and accountability. When her family returned from Hawaii, tanned and oblivious, Sylvia was waiting at the airport. Did you have fun? She asked, her tone calm but edged with purpose. Lily grinned. Thanks for the card, big sis. Too bad I didn't grab any souvenirs. Sylvia's smile didn't waver. That's fine. I've got a surprise for you. She led them to the house, where a for sale sign now stood prominently at the entrance. Their faces fell as Sylvia explained. I sold the house. The paperwork's done, and your things are already on their way to Grandma Eleanor's in Portland. What? David sputtered. You can't do that. This house is mine. Sylvia's voice was steady. Actually, Dad, you signed it over to me years ago to cover the taxes. It's in my name, and I've decided it's time for me to move on. Lily's eyes widened. You're kicking us out? Sylvia shook her head. Not exactly. Grandma's expecting you. She's ready to put you to work at the bistro. And by the way, that card you used in Hawaii? It's in your name, Lily. You'll need to figure out how to pay off the $12. Margaret gasped, pulling out the card and seeing Lily's name embossed on it. No way, she whispered, her face ashen. Lily stammered, but I thought, how am I supposed to pay that? Sylvia shrugged. You'll figure it out at Grandma's. She's strict, but fair. Maybe you'll finally learn something. As her family stood in stunned silence, Sylvia felt a weight lift from her shoulders. For the first time in years, she saw a path to freedom, not just financial, but emotional. She had carried her family for too long, and now it was time for them to stand on their own. As Eleanor's van pulled up to collect them, Sylvia turned away, ready to reclaim her life in Seattle. But deep down, a flicker of hope lingered. Maybe, just maybe, her family could change under Eleanor's tough love. Only time would tell. End of Chapter 1. Sylvia's bold move has set her on a path to independence. But the consequences of her decision are just beginning to unfold. Will Lily and her parents rise to the challenge at Eleanor's bistro? Or will their old habits drag them deeper into conflict? And can Sylvia truly find peace after years of sacrifice? The journey is far from over. The rain-soaked streets of Seattle glistened under the streetlights as Sylvia stood on her apartment balcony, gazing at the city's skyline. At 32, she had reclaimed her life after selling the family home in Tacoma. A bold move that freed her from the suffocating weight of her family's dependence. The past few months had been a whirlwind of change, new projects at her gaming studio, a promotion to lead designer, and the quiet peace of living alone. Yet, despite her newfound freedom, a small ache lingered in her heart. A mix of anger, sadness, and a faint hope for something better with her family. Little did she know, the next chapter of her story was about to unfold, pulling her back into the orbit of those she'd left behind. Weeks after sending her parents, David and Margaret, and her sister, Lily, to her grandmother Eleanor's bistro in Portland, Sylvia received an unexpected call. The number was unfamiliar, but the voice on the other end was unmistakable, though softer, humbler than she remembered. Sylvia, it's me, Lily, her sister said, her tone stripped of its usual arrogance. I know you probably don't want to hear from me, but I need to talk. In person. I owe you an apology, a real one. Sylvia's grip tightened on the phone, her emotions a tangled knot of skepticism and curiosity. Lily, apologizing? The same sister who'd spent $12 of Sylvia's money on a lavish Hawaii trip without a shred of remorse? Why now? Sylvia asked, her voice guarded. Lily's response was quiet but earnest. I've changed, big sis. Working at Grandma's, it's made me see things differently. Please, just give me a chance to explain. Reluctantly, Sylvia agreed to meet Lily the following Saturday at a cozy cafe near Pike Place Market. As she waited at a corner table, sipping a latte, her mind raced with doubts. Was this another of Lily's manipulations? Or could she truly have changed? The cafe door swung open, and Lily stepped in, looking different, her usual flashy style replaced by a simple sweater and jeans. Her face free of makeup, her eyes carrying a weight Sylvia hadn't seen before. She approached hesitantly, sitting across from Sylvia with a nervous smile. Big sis, Lily began, her voice trembling. I'm so sorry, for everything, for taking your money, for taking you for granted, for all of it. Sylvia sat back, stunned, as Lily poured out her heart. At Eleanor's bistro, under their grandmother's strict guidance, Lily had been thrust into a world of hard work she'd never known. Waking at 5 a.m. to prep dough, scrubbing dishes until her hands ached, and serving demanding customers had stripped away her sense of entitlement. For the first time, I realized how much you've carried for us, Lily said, tears welling in her eyes. I was selfish, thinking I deserved everything while you sacrificed your own dreams. Grandma made me see how unfair I've been. She recounted late-night talks with Eleanor, who shared stories of Sylvia's sacrifices, how she'd given up her independence to keep the family afloat. Each story was a mirror, reflecting Lily's own shortcomings. As Lily spoke, Sylvia felt the walls she'd built around her heart begin to crumble. The anger that had fueled her decision to sell the house softened, replaced by a cautious hope. Lily reached into her bag and pulled out an envelope, sliding it across the table. "This is just a start," she said. "It's $2 I've saved from working at the bistro. I know it doesn't cover the $12 I took, but I promise I'll pay it all back." Sylvia opened the envelope, her fingers brushing against the cash, and felt a warmth she hadn't expected. It wasn't just the money, it was the proof of Lily's growth. A tangible sign that her sister was trying to make amends. Their conversations stretched for hours, moving beyond apologies to shared memories and dreams. Lily admitted she'd been spoiled, coasting on her charm while Sylvia bore the family's burdens. "I want to be better," Lily said, her voice steady despite the tears. "I'm learning to cook at the bistro. And I'm actually good at it. Grandma says I might have a knack for it." Sylvia smiled, a genuine warmth spreading through her. For the first time in years, she saw her sister not as a rival, but as someone striving to change. Months later, Sylvia visited Eleanor's bistro in Portland, a rustic haven filled with the aroma of fresh basil and warm bread. She braced herself as she stepped inside, unsure of what to expect from her parents. David and Margaret greeted her with nervous smiles, their usual defensiveness replaced by a quiet humility. Over a meal of Eleanor's signature margarita pizza, they apologized. "We were wrong to favor Lily," David admitted, his voice heavy with regret. "We leaned on you too much, Sylvia, and didn't see how it hurt you." Margaret nodded, her eyes glistening. "We're learning to stand on our own now. Thanks to your grandmother. We're sorry for everything." Sylvia listened, her heart caught between lingering pain and a growing sense of peace. She watched her parents bustle around the bistro, David learning to manage inventory and Margaret mastering the art of tiramisu. They were different, humbled, grounded, and working as a team for the first time in years. Eleanor, ever the wise matriarch, pulled Sylvia aside before she left. "You're strong, Sylvia, but your kindness is what makes you special," she said, her voice firm yet warm. "Family can be a burden, but it's also a gift. Give them time, they're trying." Sylvia nodded, tears pricking her eyes as she hugged her grandmother tightly. That night, as Sylvia drove back to Seattle, the city lights blurred through her tears. She thought of the family photo on her desk, a snapshot of happier times when she and Lily laughed without resentment. When her parents' love felt equal. The road to forgiveness wasn't easy. But seeing her family's efforts, Lily's earnest apology, her parents' newfound accountability, ignited a spark of hope. Sylvia knew it would take time to fully heal. But for the first time, she believed they could rebuild something stronger. Something real. End of chapter 2. Sylvia's heart is opening to the possibility of reconciliation. But can her family sustain their change? Will Lily's growth endure? And can David and Margaret truly make amends for years of unfairness? As Sylvia balances her strength with her kindness, the future holds both promise and uncertainty.